Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to Get Hit with the Truth. So today we're doing the What's Next on Regis Prograis, the newly crowned WBC Junior Welterweight Champion at 140 pounds after he scored maybe the best win of his career, to be honest. When he knocked out Jose Zepeda to capture the WBC, the vacant WBC title. It's definitely up there with some of his biggest wins. I remember when he knocked out Julius Ndongo, and then he got into the World Boxing Super Series tournament, and and I believe in the semifinals he stopped Kira Relic pretty impressively by a TKO in the 6th, 7th round, which was a big deal. It led him to the unification bout with Josh Taylor, but Zepeda, in my opinion, was more highly regarded. Even though Relic was a champion, Zepeda was more highly regarded at 140 coming into this fight than Zepeda was when they fought years ago. So for Prograis, this might be his single best win so far. And, the sky's the limit now. So the big question is, what's next for Regis Prograis? Well, that's pretty much laid out. If you want to know who he's fighting next, it's almost for sure going to be former unified champ Jose Ramirez. Ramirez was actually supposed to fight Zepeda for the vacant title in a rematch. Ramirez apparently is getting married, or did get married to his longtime fiance, and he asked to be next in line for the winner of Zepeda and Prograis, who is the next highest rated contender. Prograis is a champ now, and for all intents and purposes, it should be Ramirez, unless Ramirez believes he needs a tune-up bout prior to that. I really hope that's not the case. I hope it's Ramirez and Prograis next, which is going to be a good fight. I mean, Ramirez, brings the pressure and brings the action, and Prograis is just a very good boxer-puncher combination. So I really like the matchup there, and I really hope that is what Prograis is going to do next. But let's say it is, right? Let's just for a moment say that happens and he does fight Ramirez next. Now, do I feel he beats Jose Ramirez? I do, actually. I think Prograis, outside of Teofimo Lopez and how he looks at 140 in his next fight, which is actually Saturday, and the fight after that, which could potentially be against Josh Taylor if he gets by Sandor Martin on Saturday, I'm in the crowd that Prograis and Teofimo Lopez might be the two best guys there. And Josh Taylor might also be in that mix as well, but it's very close between those guys, very close. So I really want to see who is going to come out from this one, but I think it's going to be Prograis. I think he beats Ramirez. He either stops him or he gets a decision over him, and Prograis moves on as a world champion. So what does he do in the second half of the year? Well, that's what we're going to look at, is if he's victorious in his next fight, who does he fight after that in the second half of the year? Well, he wouldn't have a mandatory. He'd be in optional mode, which right now, in my opinion, could lead to big fights in the second half of the year. But let's take a look first. So Josh Taylor, a rematch against the undefeated WBO champ. Well, Taylor's supposed to be fighting Jack Catterall in February, potentially March. Does that leave the door open for Taylor and Teofimo Lopez after that? I think it does. I think Lopez, if he gets by Martin, he might come back a month or so after and then fight Taylor in the second half of the year, which, that would ruin Prograis getting a crack at Taylor. But I'm not going to completely rule it out. I think if Prograis is a world champion, that is going to be very enticing for Josh Taylor as a champ to go after it. But I really think because Taylor already has a win over Prograis, he might look to a Teofimo Lopez fight first and then consider Prograis. So I think the chances of Prograis and Taylor happening during 2023, I'm sorry to say, I don't see it. I mean, it's not that I don't think it's possible. I just think the timeline is not going to match up for these guys. So that's my opinion. We already said he's fighting Jose Ramirez next, so you can probably expect that. Teofimo Lopez. I would love to see that matchup. To me, these might be the two best guys. But where does that leave Josh Taylor? You know, obviously, if Josh Taylor moves up to welterweight, then Teofimo Lopez probably fights for the vacant title in the first half of the year, and then maybe he goes after the winner of Ramirez and Prograis, which I think is going to be Prograis. But again, it's another one. I don't know if Lopez's goal is to fight Taylor next after Sandor Martin. That messes up the timeline for Prograis and you know, to get a crack at Lopez. We might have to wait till 2024 to see Lopez fight Prograis. And, you know, if Lopez even comes out on top of that whole mix, if he beats Josh Taylor, which I do think he can beat him, but it just depends on how he continues to fare at junior welter. So I don't see a Lopez fight for, I mean, I could see it, but I'm leaning towards the less likely for Prograis and Lopez, but it's not that much less likely. I think there is a possibility there. Then you got a rematch with Jose Zepeda. Doesn't make any sense for Prograis. That's not going to happen. Jack Catterall, if he were to upset Taylor in their rematch, maybe we could see that fight happening, but I really think the winner of that fight is going to be lined up to fight Teofimo Lopez most likely. So I don't see Catterall and Prograis, but again, it's another one where I don't think it's impossible to think that it could happen. If Catterall fights him hard again and comes up short against Taylor again, maybe Prograis would be like, well, hey, I'll give you a crack at the title in the second half of the year while I wait around for him to show how much better than Taylor I am. So I think from that standpoint, maybe, but we'll see. I personally think Taylor's going to convincingly beat Catterall in a rematch, so that probably will take that off the table for Prograis. But you never know. If Taylor can't knock Catterall out, maybe Prograis will be like, hey, I'll fight him. You know, come and get a crack at my belt. So we'll see. Then you got Gary Antoine Russell. Not seeing it. That, you know, he's with the PBC. It doesn't mean that it can't happen. I just think Prograis is going to go after some of the bigger fights before he takes a risk on a guy like Russell, who hasn't fully come out as a huge name yet. Then you got Sandor Martin. Well, it depends on how Martin looks against Lopez, you know, and what he's doing heading into the second half of next year. I guess it's possible if Martin looks okay and Prograis doesn't have any other options, maybe he'll try to fight Martin to try to look better than Lopez did against him. But again, we got to see how Lopez does. So not going to completely rule it out, but in the second half of the next year, if he's rolling after beating Jose Ramirez, I don't think he's going to want to fight a guy like Martin. A fight with Victor Postol, again, that's one of those back burner options if he can't get anything else in the second half of next year. And we don't even know what Postol is going to do between now and then. So, you know, maybe they throw him in there against Prograis, but I'm leaning towards the less likely. A fight with Pedraza, I don't see it, and Richard Comey. You know, you never know, but I don't see it in the second half of next year. But for Regis Prograis, you know, he's gonna have options. It's just what is he gonna want to do? You know, that's gonna be the big question if he gets through Jose Ramirez. You know, what fights will be there for him? We just gotta wait and see. But for at least what's next, it should be a showdown with Jose Ramirez in what should be a very good fight, in my opinion. And if he gets through that, we just got to wait and see what's next up for Prograis following this knockout victory over Jose Zepeda to capture his second world title. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.